What's good, everybody? We back with another crazy episode. In today's video, we have all types of mysterious, disturbing content from all across the internet that no one can explain. Hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in.
What the what? The shark just jumped into the boat. What?
Okay, watch out. We do not want to get clipped by that one.
Oh my god! Holy phone, dude. Oh my god, look at the fiberglass, bro. Holy crap. Jumped out of the freaking water into the boat.
Oh my god. Holy shit, dude. You just smoked me in the fucking head.
Are you okay, bro?
Shit.
Holy
I was. Frame, dude.
Oh
He jumped
my-
right over me.
He jumped over you, bro. Oh my god. Bro. Was this what you were fighting the whole time?
Yeah, it had to be.
No way.
No, I just got it and it jumped out of the
Bro,
water.
you
my fish and then
it
jumped
ate
in
your
the boat.
fish and then jumped into the freaking boat.
Okay, I'm not touching that thing.
No, dude, we're done. We're done. We're done.
Did you lose the rod?
Look at your
the fish?
dude. It
rod-
knocked
the
the
rod's
trolling motor
gone.
back
My
into
rod's
the
gone.
water. Your rod is gone.
Two rods are gone.
Two rods are gone.
Fuck, dude. Jesus Christ.
Only Ryan's rods. left.
Only
That
my
was the scariest
rod.
thing.
I mean, that's a tough situation to be in. What do? Do you try tossing it back on a small boat and you see its head is on a swivel?
Shush, you have no idea what my POV view was. You have no idea what my POV view. It went over your head.
I'm dying.
It
This
went,
shit
it went
smacked my head.
It went
It
over
jumped
my
my
head.
head,
You
and
smacked.
you
You
ducked
ducked
it.
just in time.
And then it smacked.
Oh, I saw it jump. I was like, oh my god, dude!
And then-
and it was spinning. It went in the boat, and then, holy shit! Now,
You can see all the teeth in the bottom row.
What the what?
I mean, in all honesty, what do you do in this situation? You know, you got to think about if this was like your friend or your son and they called you up and it was like, what do we do? You know, are you going to tell them, all right, try getting it back in the water? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
This is how the Japanese drew the first ever American they saw.
Damn, the second one is terrifying.
They also thought the black ship they came in was a fire-breathing dragon. This is how they drew their ships. For over 200 years up until that point, Japan had been completely isolated, banning foreign trade, not allowing any foreigners. If any foreigners were washed up on the beaches of Japan, they would have immediately executed them. Japan was flourishing. It had its own unique culture as well as its own prosperous nation. The Edo period was one of the best periods of historical Japan. That was until July 5th, 1853, when this guy, an American, Matthew Perry, came with 3 black ships, and Japan was terrified. They had never seen steam-powered engines. The last 200 years, they were perfecting their tea ceremonies while America was rapidly industrializing. And basically, America came to say, hey, open your borders, we want to trade with you. The Japanese government at the time, which was basically the emperor as well as the shogun. Shogun was like a military faction consisting of freaking overpowered samurais that basically controlled everything. They had a big disagreement and this led to one of the biggest civil wars and rapid industrialization for Japan. Funny thing is most American people probably don't even know who Matthew Perry is, but every Japanese person knows who Matthew Commodore Perry is because we all learned about him in school. And this moment is actually a pivotal moment. They call black ships kurofune in Japanese, and they use it to refer to something that was game-changing. Like for example, the iPhone was a kurofune. Just can't get over like the way they drew him. Like imagine only seeing Japanese people for their entire life, and then you just see a guy that looks like this. This is how the Japanese drew the first ever American they saw.
It looks just like him, honestly. I wonder if we can pull one up, see what one actually looked like. Because a steam engine boat? We only really hear about the Mayflower and stuff like that. We really don't hear about the steam engines, you know? Alright, so I just punched in what the steam engine boats could have looked like. All right, so possibly something like this one. All right, so this is probably what they first witnessed, maybe. Speaking of Japan, check out this crystal circuit sword of ancient China.
There's something going on in ancient China. That is a crystal sword with gold inlay. Yeah, there is actually quite a few of these things. Some of them are metal and crystal, some of them are just crystal, and they go for like $3,000 to $10,000 on the antiquities market. Okay, we're gonna need some context to fully grasp these things. These are from the Warring States period in ancient China. This is right after the first dynasty, which was right after these wild things, which we'll get to in a little bit. Either way, this is 2,500 years ago, when in time when pretty much all of China had beef with all of China. Out of all that fighting came some very cool technologies, like how to make crystal swords. Now, these things are mostly found in, you guessed it, burials, which is super interesting though. A couple years ago, crystal dagger was found in Spain that's 5,000 years old, also in a burial. King Tut's dagger, found in a burial, made out of a meteorite. So not just the Chinese, but that's not where the similarities end. Before the first dynasty, they've discovered these things, which are very similar to the Mayan masks. Then you got this really technical craftsmanship, almost like they learned it from someone. Then, out of nowhere, the Qin dynasty starts building pyramids. Now, these are a little different than regular pyramids. They are earth mound pyramids, but they have this internal architecture to them, kind of similar to like a Hindu stepwell, but way weirder. There is a river of liquid mercury underneath the pyramid where the burial chamber is. Where else do we see a river of liquid mercury? Pyramid of Teotihuacan in Mexico. Yeah. Let's get this straight. The liquid metal that's used in high current arc rectifiers is underneath a pyramid with a dude buried with a circuit sword. Right, this clearly needs a longer explanation. I got you on the tube. But if you have hidden history, I did add some Easter eggs in the Chinese pyramids section, if you know what you're looking for.
Could it be possible that those weren't tombs? They might have been power sources. Could you imagine an electric powered sword with circuits? You know, what were they working on? What type of thing? What do you have to battle with an electric power sword? All right, this next video appears to be some type of like vampire artifact museum. Let's take a closer look. I wonder who originally made these artifacts in the first place and why would they need them? On this next clip, they are claiming they are up there. All you have to do is look. Oh yeah, we're seeing several streaks shoot across the sky. I believe that was like a bug in front of the lens. But yeah, that looks like a highway system up there in space, doesn't it? Where are they going? It looks like they're all going to the same destination, doesn't it? Well, we got someone late to the party traveling. Yeah. Like a UFO highway system up there. All right, this next clip, this dude is talking about alien bases underwater.
A lot of underwater facilities located around the planet, especially in the Marianas Trench. There's a portal there that the extraterrestrials have been using forever. One of the facilities that's down under that is monitoring portals and monitoring ET activity underwater. A lot of extraterrestrial craft are kept underwater. It's a great place to hide. You know, and they're interdimensional, and some use portals and some don't, because they can just enfold on themselves and be somewhere else, because they've already mastered, you know, the time-space continuum and can travel between worlds and that's a whole other physics thing.
Could you talk a little bit about, with these underground and underwater facilities, do you know where you are when you go, and how do you get to, how would you get underwater? And how?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. People are like, oh, well, you know, there's two ways to build facilities. You know, they build a space station, they send up like different compartments, and then they connect to each other like Legos, and then you have this big space station. So one of the ways they do it is they drop these things down, and it depends how, you know, deep it is, and they can assemble these with underwater drone robotic things from the surface, and, you know, make these facilities underground just by connecting them and vacuum pressuring them, and they can survive there forever and ever and ever and ever.
Where are they at? Are they camouflaged? How come we don't got no pictures at least?
The other way is they will drill under the sea ground, and work from the bottom up. Is how they usually do it with these types of cities. Now they have developed a special magnetic field to, you know, withstand these great pressures underneath, you know, these deep seas. And what happens is it will create this bubble, you know, of air. And it's a very thick, you know, I don't know the science behind it, but it creates an electromagnetic field that pushes the water out. And then from there, they release this gas and this substance, which makes this 3 to 4 foot thick, clear steel. It's metal, but it's clear dome. And then they start funneling things from, you know, Florida and California to these facilities underground by using the same things they use the maglev tubes, where they're melting rock. These are very huge interstates underground that go to these facilities. Anyway, so they're working from the ground up, usually, is how they do it, depending on how deep they're going.
Where does all the dirt go when they dig? How do they keep it such a secret?
Well, they do liquefied. It's granite, usually rock, not so much dirt. And it is liquefied and melted, and it looks like...
Especially when you're speaking about melted rock, or possibly the same technology they use for Kailasa Temple.
The walls look like, you know, obsidian, like glass. And that liquid is easily transported out using special vehicles, anti-gravity vehicles and other vehicles, very quickly to the surface. They're artificially intelligent, so it's AI. They just run consistently all day long, and they're doing it right now as we speak for other places. So that's where it goes. It's a very simple process.
Okay, and it's not noticed, it goes unnoticed? Like, they could be digging a base right now and no one would be able to tell?
Yeah, well, there's other spots too, where they can dump things on the way. It depends on how far they're going and you know, where it's at, number one, how far the actual facility is. And I was not part of the construction, by the way. I just know this because I asked the same question to a couple of contractors that were involved with making the facilities, like the one that's down there by Mountain Air, New Mexico.
Okay. So let's get back to the underwater bases, since these are these photos. So this is, I guess in an episode you spoke of having to do procedures underwater. And could you explain why? Like, why would you not just put the being in a tank and operate them in a regular room? Why would you have to be underwater as well?
Is this an actual captured image that they're saying is real? Or is this just some type of reference? I mean, look at the headpiece that they're wearing.
Well, some of the beings come from water worlds, and there's a lot of beings that live here. We call them like aquafarians. It's kind of the code we use for that. They live here already. They've been living here a long time, but we do have visitors.
Aquafarians, like that movie, what was that Disney movie, Lucas or Luca or something, you know, where the sea monsters change to humans, and he's saying they call them aquafarians. Oh man, now we're getting somewhere.
That also come from very far away, that their ships have liquid in them of all different sorts of materials. This specific one, it looks like I'm a mermaid man with little fins. There's sometimes that you cannot, people are like, well, why can't you use those big tubes? And like, because you don't have the visualization, number one. So we actually have operating rooms as big as this room, filled with seawater, that we walk into with these suits and take samples, because the bodies have to be kept in the water or they'll deteriorate with pure oxygen on the surface. So that's why we cannot, use these little capsules and stuff. You have to be ambidextrous here. You're talking some very small instruments and things like that. This is a good depiction of that. And we have these special boots that are magnetic, that keep us on the ground. Everything is contained in the suit. This is just one of the artist renditions that I depicted for them for this.
Wow, so this is an artist rendition, basically. And did you hear how the boots were magnet that hit the ground and the room had to be filled with seawater? That would make a hell of a movie, wouldn't it? But I think this man is saying this might have actually happened. But how he's explaining it in such detail, it's easy to imagine. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. They hiding this over in the Bermuda Triangle or what? Ancient dolphin technology. What exactly is he talking about?
People there said, there's actual beings that do what you're doing and they don't use equipment. I said, no, you need equipment to do this. And he said, do you ever hear of dolphins? I said, Flipper? You want me to go see Flipper? And he said, yeah. Dolphins have been doing this for about 10 million years. I said, huh? He said, no, really. And at that time, I hadn't had a chance to get to a place where I could actually check out these dolphins and see if they were actually doing scanning and then actually doing treatment. But I was invited to go to Egypt. Someone also in that same workshop said, you're talking about resonance, you're talking about waveforms, you're talking about energy. Did you know that the ancients used to do this?
Okay, I hear you. Now we're getting somewhere. This is getting interesting.
I said, no. I said, I'm going to send you to Egypt. And I got to Egypt and found myself going on an initiation, literally taken from temple to temple. I was led into the Great Pyramid alone during the day when it was closed for restoration. And when it's closed for restoration, apparently they turn on the volume of the energy fields inside of the pyramid. The pyramid is an acoustical device. The shape of it is kind of neat, but the acoustical cavities inside are the actual waveform generators. And of course, like in any old experimenter, I just said, I wonder what this does, and pressed the on button for the pyramid, and boy was I in for a surprise. I ended up meeting Source, going through the Eye of Horus, experiencing at one-ment with the allness, and I was given a command. And it said, get the word back to the people. I said, what? It said, get the word back to the people. The word is the vibration that you've been looking for that takes thought form and manifests it into actual matter. You had asked back in 73 if you could be of service. Took you a while. It was now 1987. Christmas Day, 1987. It's quite an experience. So right about noon that day, I got the energy equations to put into the projection system. And I was told, oh, by the way, your teachers are going to be dolphins because they've used this energy pattern for millions of years. And I said, this is too much. This is too much. So we went full circle. I made the original request to help and be of service. The key words are, I choose to help and be of service. So if you do that and you ask, it happens. Now for me, So it took 13 years. So I'm a little slow. So the presentation that we'll have this morning will be the actual projector system, how it can be when we can work in frequency space, whatever it takes to get into that space, and if we have the word energy associated with it, we now no longer need brute force. We can use trickles of energy. In the idea of making it even more cost effective, we've been able to put the energy on a simple thing as a nightlight bulb, the actual holographic waveform pattern. One of my issues with God at the time was, it would be great to be able to get this technology to the people. How do I get the word to the people in the most cost-effective way so they don't have to pay maybe $100,000 for some medical treatment? How could it be done more cost-effectively? And the message is, don't worry, you'll find out one step at a time. So 5 years later, I had audio techniques. Another 2 years later, computer techniques. Another 2 years later after that, laser techniques. And 1 year after that, a light bulb that you could plug into your wall.
Maybe that's why they don't want us talking to dolphins. If you thought I didn't have another excellent specimen for you today, think again. All right, you guys see it. What a unique shape, a malachite. What would you guys name this? Kind of looks like that destroyer from Star Wars from one angle, but then it's got like that foldable mouth, like a Miss Pac-Man or something. A unique shape, to say the least. I love the shape and the dark blue crystals within it. I'm gonna rate this a 9.5. You know, with the velvet green and then the blue sapphire crystals popping off, octahedrals. A lot's going on here. I want to hear your rating and your name below. If I had to name this, I would call it the Green Pac-Man Monster. 9.5. Yeah, that's all we got for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You know I love you guys. It's been a while since we went live over on Jet Ski Chuck, so be expecting one of those sooner or later. This video, we went through all types of crazy, disturbing, mysterious content that nobody can explain. Code word is underwater.